Good afternoon. Today is the 19th of June, and much later than normally, we're looking at the top 10 best-selling cars of May 2021. Thank you to everyone who has joined the channel since we did the last one of these, looking at April 2021. It's been another interesting month for the UK motor industry, and sales are much higher than they were in May 2020. However, they haven't quite returned to pre-pandemic levels. Nevertheless, though, they do make for some interesting reading, and let's take a look at them. So, May 2021 was another month where the industry seemed to get back on its feet. It was the first full month, actually, this year that dealerships were open properly. I think they actually opened on 12th of April, sort of fully. There were other things they could do, but new car sales in person was a thing that was restricted. The way that this will work will be that we'll look at the figures from May 2020 and we'll compare them with last month. So, for example, I've got the figures from the SMMT website here, and they show that with the private sector of motoring, there was a change of plus 473%. Now, this is comparing month to month, so May 2020, May 2021. So if I say that's a change, that's an increase of 473% on May 2020. There's also a market share thing here, which actually shows what the market share was in 2020 compared with 2021, and we can see the private sales made up 63.7% of the market in May 2020, and last month it was 47%, so quite a shift there. So I don't need to go too much into that. We can see how we're comparing things, and if we talk about sales, if I say, for example, the number of battery electric vehicles sold last month was 13,120. What I actually mean is that's the number of battery electric vehicles registered. But I won't be saying registrations because that's far too long a word to use all the time. I will just say sales. But just for sake of clarification, that's actually what I mean. With the fleet sector, it's an amazing change from May 2020. Last month, there were 1,095% more fleet sales than there were in May 2020. The market share for last month was about 50.7%, whereas last May it was about 33%. The number of cars sold in this sector has gone from 6,700 last year to 79,500 last month. With the business sector, there's also been an increase. It's not traditionally a very large sector in this country, but it's gone from 700 in May 2020 to last month 3,400. That's a 391% change. Market share has changed slightly from 3.5% to 2.2% last month. With the different types of fuel, we can see that, diesel is still in decline. I mean, that's why we don't talk about it too much on my channel. And that's been the case since the first video that ever went live in September 2018. But we still see this huge decline. So, although the percentage change is massively up, that's because more cars overall were sold, about 5 times more, which is a 349% increase. However, the market share has dropped from May 2020 at 17% to 10% last month. Mild hybrid diesels, though, even more of a change. Now, a lot of manufacturers are introducing this in their cars. The one I always quote is the Kia Sportage mild hybrid diesel. That'll be replaced quite soon with a new model, but for the sake of sales last month, that's still valid. So It has gone from about 780 sales in May 2020 to about 11,000 last month. A 1,286% change for the positive. Market share has also increased from 3.8% in May 2020 to 7% last month. Petrol sales, they have lost a bit of market share. In May 2020 they were 55%, and last month 48%. The change was 580% up, and it went from 11,000 sales in May 2020 to 76,000 sales last month. It's pretty crazy, yeah, 480% increase. Mild hybrid petrol, that is basically a lot of cars now, Toyota Yaris, the entirety of Suzuki's range, lots of Fords, you name it. Most of the petrol cars, it seems now, are going that way, although the percentages don't quite say that, but that's increasingly what's going to have to happen with the forthcoming Euro 7 regulations in 2025, and of course a stepping stone towards electrification for all cars from 2030. Cars without any form of plug-in hybrid system will be totally banned, and even I think the mild hybrids or conventional hybrids will be gone as well, which is crazy. Obviously they're pushing toward electrification massively. So mild hybrid petrols, May 2020 about 1,000 of them were sold. Last month 19,000. So that works out at something like a 1,822% increase. The market share of those in May 2020 was 5%. It's now 12%. Battery electric vehicles are ones that I think are being most heavily pushed due to this government legislation that's being you know, touted as coming into play in 2030. That's seen a huge increase. Now, market share in 2020 was 12%. For some reason, the market share has gone down, but the number of cars sold has massively increased. So it was 12% in May 2020. It's now 8.4%, but the number of cars sold, the percentage increase, is 441%. Last year it was about 2,400, and last month 13,000. Plug-in hybrids, they have increased market share quite a lot. It's a much more cost-effective way of manufacturers becoming compliant, and I think some of them will still be okay after 2030. Who knows for how long. Market share May 2020 was about 4%, now 6.3%. Percentage change is somewhere like 1,100%. Numbers sold May 2020 800, last month about 10,000. Hybrid electric vehicles, this is things like the Toyota Corolla, which are all hybrid now, and of course the Prius. It's gone from 3.2% of the market to 8.3% of the market last month. Percentage change is about 1,900. May 2020 about 650 cars sold, and last month 13,000. So quite a difference. The percentage change overall is about 674%. So quite a difference, really. Let's now look at the title of the video and have a look at the best sellers for May 2020, the top 10. What's interesting here is that actually the Corsa, which is the dominant car of 2021 so far, has been knocked off its perch by the Golf. I don't really know why that is. Perhaps Volkswagen had a massive stock of them and they're trying to get rid of them. I don't really know. But despite those really fiddly ventilation controls, which are all touch sensitive now, that sold in May 2021 4,200 cars approximately. Number 2, the Corsa, 3,600 approximately. Third was the Polo, about 3,500. Notice the Fiesta has really fallen down the rankings for last month. Don't know why. Fourth position, the Mercedes A-Class. That's not really much of a surprise. That is the perennial bestseller in this country due to the sort of PCP world, really, and leasing, 3,300. Then the Ford Puma, which actually outsold the Fiesta last month, in 5th position, 3,200. 6th position, the Kia Sportage, but still the old model, 3,000. Ford Fiesta, about 2,800. That's in 7th position. Then the Toyota Yaris, which is exclusively hybrid now rather than mild hybrid, 2,600. The Mini, very similar sales to the Yaris, in 9th position, about 2,600. And the Audi A3, which shares a platform with the Golf, the top seller, 2,500. Now we come to the top 10, rather, not the top 10 really, just the analysis of individual brands. Now I find this the most fascinating part of the video personally, which where we get to look and see whose market share is going up, whose market share is going down, and the change that's happened. So I always start with Abarth. The figures here will show percentage, they'll show the market share in May 2020 versus the market share last month, and they'll also show how many cars were sold. So for Abarth, the change was plus 318%. The market share has changed from 0.28% to 0.15%, and last month there were 234 cars sold. Alfa Romeo, another big plus, 209%. Market share was 0.22%, now it's 0.09, which is quite a change, although the number of cars, of course, has increased to 139. Alpine, I don't tend to say Alpine because the numbers are so small, but so we go on to Audi then. 755% increase. Market share last year, 7.4%, now 8.2%, and last month about 13,000 cars sold. Bentley, again, I don't tend to discuss them because the numbers are quite small, but I will this time. 203% increase, 0.17% market share in May 2020, last month 0.07, 103 cars sold. BMW, last year Britain's second best-selling brand. Now, they have had a 606% increase. In May 2020, their market share was 7.27%. Last month it was 6.63%, and about 10,400 cars sold. Citroën, now they have had another big increase, 602%. Market share last year in May was 1.7%. Last month 1.5%, and 2,400 cars sold. Cupra, no figures to compare with last year because they weren't really on sale. DS, 340, sorry, Dacia's first. Dacia, 426% increase. Market share last May was 1.3%. This year's 0.9% actually, but still 1,400 cars sold. DS, 207 cars sold last month. Market share last year was 0.23%. This year, 0.13%. 341% increase approximately. Fiat, massive increase, 663% increase. Market share is very similar. Last May 1.36%, last month 1.34%. I don't know what's happened. Maybe that mild hybrid Tipo is doing well or something, who knows. 2,100 cars sold. Ford, country's best selling brand last year, although yep, Audi outsold them last month. 441% increase approximately. 10.4% market share in May 2020. Last month, 7.3%. 11,400 cars sold. Honda, massive increase in market share and just increase in sales generally. 1,265% increase. 0.96% market share in May 2020. Last month, 2,700, 1.7%. Absolutely incredible. Brilliant work. Hyundai, one of the biggest percentage changes we're likely to see, 2,485% increase. 1.2% market share, May 2020. Last month, 4%. Crazy. And 6,200 cars sold. Jaguar, like virtually everyone else, an increase, about 400%. Market share in May 2020, 2.35%. Last month, 1.5. 2,400 cars sold. Jeep, 555% increase. Market share last May, 0.4%. Market share last month, 0.34%. It's a bit of a decrease. 540 cars approximately sold. Kia, a brand I think we like very much in this country. 706% increase. May 2020, a 5% market share. Last month, 5.24%, so still an increase. And 8,200 cars sold. We do like our Kias in this country. Land Rover, 605% increase. Last year, 3.85% market share. In May, last month, 3.5, 5,500 cars sold. Lexus, 831% increase, 0.67% market share last May. Last month, 0.8%, so an increase. And in total, about 1,300 cars sold. Maserati, I don't tend to talk about it. Again, it's not at the moment that statistically significant. Mazda, very good increase in market share. So 2,387% increase. Let's see if that's different to Hyundai. It's about the same. 0.52% market share in May 2020. Last month, 1.67 and 2,600 cars sold. Maybe it's due to that new MX-30 electric car that they've got. Mercedes-Benz, a big seller in our market. 375% increase. Last May's market share was about 10%. Last month is about 6%, so it's a bit of a decrease really for them. 9,500 cars sold. MG, who they sell a lot of cars now, an awful lot of cars. They've almost outsold Honda, actually, but not quite. But almost on level of Honda and Mazda now. So 1,285% increase. Last year, 0.87% of the market. Last month, 1.6. Very impressive. 2,500 cars sold. One of the biggest sort of rises of any brand in the last 10 years. Mitsubishi, about a brand that's destined to actually disappear from our market, I think, by the end of next year, sadly. 1,351% increase, 0.34% market share, May 2020. Last month, 0.64. So quite an increase, sort of doubling really, just over 1,000 cars sold. So that's actually very good, considering the announcement that they're going to disappear. Nissan, traditionally quite strong in our market. 734% increase, 2.75% market share in May 2020. Last month was about 3%, 4,600 cars sold. Peugeot, 483% increase, 5.14% market share last year. Last month, 3.87% market share and 6,000 cars sold. So I don't know whether that's a decline or not really. Still doing reasonably well. Porsche, 292% increase. Market share was 1.16% in May 2020. It's now 0.59. And about 920 cars sold. Renault actually was outsold by MG last month. Wow, crazy. Still an increase though, 293% increase. 2.95% market share last year. That's sort of halved to 1.5% for last month. About 2,350 cars sold. Seat, big seller last month for them, really. 1,300% increase. 1.7% market share in May 2020, 3% market share last month, 4,800 cars sold. Skoda traditionally outsells Seat in our market because they're marginally cheaper on the whole anyway. Sometimes they're not. 1,730% increase in market share. 1.64% in May 2020, and 3.89% last month, almost 4%. 6,000 cars sold. Massive. Really quite a force to be reckoned with, actually. I mean, we don't outsell Volkswagen or anything. Volkswagen comprehensively dominated the sales chart last month, but there we go. Smart, brand that's been relaunched. 1,380% increase. 0.05% market share in May 2020. 0.09% last month. 148 cars sold. SsangYong, 300% increase. 0.15% market share May 2020. 0.08% market share last month, and only 120 cars sold. That's because the brand's future is a little bit uncertain at the moment, unfortunately. Subaru, 1875% increase in market share. Last year, 0.04% of the market. Last month, 0.1%. So quite a big increase, and 158 cars sold. That's good news for them. Suzuki, they have sold more cars than quite a lot of brands, actually. 2,564% increase in market share. 0.49% of the market in May 2020. Now it's 1.7%, so it's very good. And about 2,700 cars sold. Toyota, 1,245% increase. 3.09% market share last May. 5.37% last month. Very good. About 8,400 cars sold. So one of the big players. Vauxhall actually outsold Toyota. They're doing very well this year. 726% increase in market share. 5.7% last May. 6% last month. 9,500 cars sold. Volkswagen, biggest player of all. 1,271% increase, 5.91% in May 2020, 10.47%, so over a tenth of the entire market belongs to Volkswagen at the moment. 16,400 cars sold. I wouldn't be surprised if Volkswagen is the top manufacturer this year. Finally, we got Volvo, 247% increase, 5.76% of the market share in May 2020, so big percentage then. Not so big at the moment, 2.6% and 4,000 cars sold, but that's pretty good. Other imports here, mainly Teslas, 93% increase. It was 5.13% of the market. That was generally the Model 3. There are a lot of those sold in May 2020, but it's now down to 1.28% of the market, about 2,000 sold. So the last month's overall figures for all the new car registrations were about 157,000, and the increase overall was 674%. So there we are, the traditional favourite of a lot of long-time viewers on the channel to go through those figures. I hope you found that interesting. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for that for next month and a lot more besides. Thank you ever so much indeed for watching. And social media links are down below. Please don't forget to switch on notifications and all that kind of stuff. It really does just help. Helps the channel to grow and to be visible to more people on YouTube. And yes, see you again next month.